Michelle Reinen from Consumer Protection is here to talk about some tips for April. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. I hope you are doing well.
Oh, we are. Well, you got to be. It's spring.
Tulips are coming up here.
Oh, yes, they are. In the spring, though, we still have to be very aware. I think maybe it seems like they come out of the woodwork when the weather gets better, don't they?
They may. They certainly follow whatever storm is happening and whatever event that we may have, and that's going to include the severe weather that we had, between March and April with winter storms and spring weather. So we do need to be mindful of the different tricks and scams that we are presented with every day.
Many people will be looking to trade cars, and I think the first thing we want to talk about is online car sellers. What can you tell us about that?
Well, consumers selling their vehicle online should be aware that they may be targeted by fake check scammers. And I know we've talked about fake checks before, just as a scam in general, but these scammers send a message to people listing their cars for sale on different sales platforms like a Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and the scammer pretends to be interested in buying the vehicle, and they claim they're not local and can't examine the car in person right away, but they offer to send the seller a check as a deposit to hold the car for them. What happens then is that the fake check scam tries to take advantage of the ways checks are processed by banks, and they commonly follow this pattern. The check sender says that they accidentally overpaid for the car, and they ask the recipient, that consumer, to send the extra money back to them. So if the consumer trusts the check that they received is real, they'll deposit it and return the difference to the scammer. And money from the fake check can appear like it is in that consumer's account, but it can really take weeks for a bank to determine a check was fraudulent and then remove the funds from the account balance when it does present itself as fraudulent. At that point in time, the consumer has already sent the overpayment to the scammer, and so they'll be out their own money as a result of this fake check overpayment scam that's out there.
Wow. Have you had any reports, some actual incidents, Michelle?
Yes, we have received messages from consumers that they have fallen victim to this, as well as the Federal Trade Commission has also received reports. But we've also seen that there is a new twist to this, in that after a car was purchased through an online marketplace, it turned out to be stolen. And it came with convincing fraudulent title information. So if a consumer is out there looking to buy a car, not just sell their car, but buy a car on a marketplace, they need to do as much verification as they can that the other party in the transaction is legitimate, that the vehicle is legitimate, and that all the paperwork is authentic. And that can be very difficult to do and may involve checking local police reports as well as with the Department of Transportation for the appropriate state.
For anyone who has DirecTV or is considering that, there's a scam spotlight this month about that organization too, isn't there?
Yeah, I think last month we might have even talked about Spectrum, but I know recently we did, and now it's DirecTV imposters. Consumers have reported to DADCAP that they've received cold calls from someone claiming to represent DirecTV, and this representative told the consumer that due to a change in DirecTV's satellite technology, that a new DVR system was going to be needed because their current DVR system would stop working in just a few days. That the scammer said that they could continue the service with the new DVR, this upgrade, for just $200 upfront fee, and that they would then have to pay $50 less per month for the next 2 years. So basically a new subscription. And the scammer said that they would go ahead and ship the new equipment. Well, the consumer really did receive a new DVR. Then they got another call from someone claiming to be the DirecTV technician that talked the consumer through setting up this new device, and everything worked correctly. He then collected the consumer's email address where they received an invoice. That invoice asked for that $200 fee with a check. They were very specific on the payment type. There were lots of typos that came with this invoice. The invoice came from a Gmail account rather than from DirecTV itself. And when you looked at all the different paperwork the consumer received, there were 4 different email addresses that were used. And they were asked to complete a customer service survey that requested personal information. So this scammer went to great lengths in order to convince the consumer it was legitimate by even, getting this new DVR upgrade system to work. But they were really trying to get some money out of the consumer as well as this personally identifiable information.
We had an organization come a couple of years ago right to our house and never could confirm it, but it almost seemed that was kind of like a scam. They wanted to see the receiver and they wanted to, do this offer. So I guess you got to be wary, don't you?
You do, especially if you're going to let someone in your house. I would confirm with the entity itself, like go back to headquarters of DirecTV using your own information from your monthly bill to say, do I have an appointment with your person or an affiliate in the area that I can trust is representing you to let them in my home? You always want to make sure you're dealing with someone legitimate if you're letting them into that personal space.
Business closures, our next topic. What can consumers do, Michelle?
Yeah, this can be really complicated, and we've seen a few businesses closing on a national level that have impacted consumers lately. And so when a business closes or files for bankruptcy, consumers often have questions, and we want to try and respond and answer some of those. Large companies often continue business operations during a closure or bankruptcy, but smaller companies may just shut their doors without warning. And what this means is that consumers need to act quickly if they want to try and protect their money or maybe any property that they have left at the business. So timing is of the essence. And the first thing is if a business has a consumer's property. Sometimes consumers leave that property with a business, think a dry cleaner or a car at a mechanic with a repair shop, or maybe a computer with a repair shop. And in the event of bankruptcy or closure, consumers should try contacting these different individuals. It might be the business owner or manager, and they might be able to return property even though the doors have closed. Maybe it's going to be a franchisor if a franchise is closing. The bankruptcy trustee may be able to make arrangements for storage and retrieval of property. A local or state official who might be involved in the situation. And in extreme cases, a consumer may be able to file an adversary proceeding in the bankruptcy case to regain possession of their property. And then there are different steps if you have money or if gift cards are involved in a situation.
There was a state story not too long ago, and it was a wedding venue that had closed, and people had money invested. That would be a scary situation.
It would. And so you really need to follow the information that's being posted on their website, making contacts, taking a look at any contract. So this is where if money is involved, like that down payment for a wedding venue, getting the deposit or a down payment refunded by a closing business depends on many different factors. And so you need to review the contract for any details on those business obligations. And then you should contact the business or bankruptcy trustee right away with any questions and any requests, and be sure you get all the details in writing. And if payment was made on a credit card and posted to your statement within 60 days of closing, act quickly to contact the credit card company to file a dispute. In some cases, the closing has anticipated money that's owed to consumers for services that are outstanding, and so they may have that available as part of their closing plan and be able to assist. That doesn't help in the case you provided a wedding venue, where those individuals will go for an alternative venue, but at least they may have the funds available to them to try and book that other venue.
Consumers need to kind of be proactive and keep tabs on it, maybe watch online, because those companies aren't going to contact you, I'm guessing.
You're absolutely right. I mean, if I want to cover gift cards as part of this. I mean, we really say the best way for consumers to protect themselves in these situations and avoid these problems is use the gift cards right away. Don't wait till a store has closed or wait until an announcement comes, because if the store is involved in a bankruptcy case, the business may have to follow exactly what the courts have told them to do with the gift card, whereas others closing may still honor them. But following those details, looking for press releases, checking websites, and then following a case along is going to be really important. If a company is involved in bankruptcy, a consumer needs to contact the bankruptcy court and obtain the information on how to file a proof of claim and deadlines for submission, then monitor that proceedings to stay up to date on the case's progress and any developments that could impact their claim, and maybe even seek legal advice with an attorney who specializes in bankruptcy law, because there are a lot of different details and deadlines that need to be followed.
Fake toll scams. I think we even had one of these come in the mail the other day that was not legitimate because we had not been in Illinois on such and such a date. But there are a lot of those scams going on this spring too, right?
There are. And spring is exactly right. Wisconsin's getting hit really hard with this right now. And part of it, we think, is because of spring breaks and the variations across the state with the timing of spring break. And, of course, we border a state that has tolls, and others travel down south where they exist, or maybe to visit friends and family out east or even west where tolls exist. And so we got hit really hard with these text messages that indicate they're from a tolling agency, and they look like they're either from Easy Pass or Wisconsin DOT. And they say that you are overdue or delinquent in having paid your tolls from having traveled through, and that you need to go to a website that looks like it's legitimate. It looks and impersonates a tolling website for you to make that payment. But consumers across the board have not left the state, do not have outstanding tolls. They are not subject to penalties or fines and any law enforcement action. So they should disregard this toll and do not click on the links that are contained within the text message.
So don't rush to judgment and pay that thing right away. Do a little bit of research on it, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. If you really did travel out of state where there is a toll, then go directly to that tolling agency website, not using the link that's in the text message. Go find it yourself. Go there, run your license plate, and see if there's an outstanding toll. But don't just respond to this message out of fear or urgency to make payment, and then report it to your telecommunications provider, so hopefully they can get a handle and block some of these. And then when it's a new scam, make sure Consumer Protection is also aware of what's circulating.
So don't engage, in other words, delete the message?
Absolutely. Please delete the message. If reporting it as junk to your provider doesn't auto-delete, then you take action to delete it.
Great. Anything else you'd like to add during this month's report?
Well, just know that Consumer Protection is there should you have questions about any situation you may encounter or a new scam that presents itself. So call the hotline at 1-800-422-7128 or go to our website at vatcp.wi.gov.
Well, we hope that, again, we keep somebody out of a jam. I know you've been a long-time guest on our show, and I'm guessing that we have done that through the time. So we appreciate you taking time each month to be with us here, Michelle.
Well, I appreciate your efforts in helping us get the word out, and that all the consumers who report what's circulating, they are our eyes and ears on the ground. So it's a team effort.
Administrator Michelle Reinen from Consumer Protection joining us for our April report here on The Morning Show.